Well, thank you. I'm Marty Schurr from Maywood, Nebraska. I'm involved in a diversified ag ag business. I grew up in Farnham, Nebraska on the eastern end of the Middle Republican District and now live in Maywood, which is more in the center. We have a family operation of farming, ranching. We're in the purebred Angus and Charolais business, and we happen to host 2 annual bull sales right here in the city of McCook, and we work with people up and down the district in the river valleys and in the upland and across state lines as well in that business. And I know how important it is for all of us to have access to water and keep the entire district viable. I have an economics degree from Colorado State University, and certainly that's come to my aid many times in the decisions that we've made throughout the last 4 years being on the board. But before that, I was also getting started and getting interested in running for the board because I could see how important water was, and during that time me and a couple of colleagues went and met with then Governor Johans to discuss the water issues, and then beyond that we went to form a group of people that were water users that were very interested in working with the NRD board of then to make sure that the things were going forward and voices were being heard and people were being represented. I'm interested in representing the whole district, and with that being said, there's a tremendous amount of diversity in this district. If you get in northwest Hays County, you've got sand is your only soil. Sand does not retain water. They have to have a little bit more water in terms of irrigation to raise the same corn crop as they do in the southeast corner of the district. Plus, there's a difference in rainfall. So I think we have to represent everybody. And when I say that, I mean upland, quick response, municipal areas, as well as the rural areas. I'm very interested in sustainability. And not just water sustainability, but economic sustainability. And there's got to be a balance there, both economically and hydrologically. Long-term problems based on solutions that use modeling numbers with the state, and also common sense and science, so we don't get any herky-jerky reactions to overdo hurting our economy with too much being overdone in terms of regulations. With that, I'd entertain your questions.
Hi, Marty.
Hi, Larry.
I guess we've pretty much covered the whole gamut of what everybody's intent is, and that is to use things very sensibly and get along and all these things. But coming from 30 miles north of us, I guess basically, we did entertain earlier that McCook is totally dependent on water first. In all of this, I guess I wonder what your thoughts are about the municipal side of things as opposed to the agriculture.
Larry, I certainly appreciate that question, because I think that municipal, in not just McCook, but in the Middle Republican District, use about 1% of the water supply that's used on a yearly basis. And so I think it's very important not only that we have a viable source of it in terms of quantity, but also a source of pure and clean water throughout the district, not just in the municipalities, but I live out in the country, I want clean water. And actually in the last 2 years, our water levels have risen if you take the district average. And if you look back to where we started with allocations in the Middle Republican, and we've come from 16 or 18 or whatever it was inches being pumped by the farmer down to 8 or 9 or whichever number you want to look at, but we've cut it in half at the least. And I don't know that we've seen the recharge effect to what that's doing to the underground water supply as of yet. But back to your municipality question, I think it's essential that we have not only water for the people that live here, but we need to have a source of it for if McCook would grow, and if there's an industry that comes in that requires water, we darn sure want to be a part of that.
Good evening, Marty.
Hi, Jim.
You mentioned in your questionnaire about working with the rest of the board to find common sense solutions and bring the district together. I mean, great words there. How can you give me some specific, or give us some specific examples of what some common sense solutions would be and how you would work to hold the district together?
Excuse me, one of the main things in terms of working together, I think it has to be ideas brought forward and then looked at, but based on common sense, on logical solutions. And there's been a lot of information floating around since this IMP has gone through, and actually it's the rules and regulations that put the teeth in that enforce that. And if people look at the rules and regulations, there is no difference between the upland acres and the quick response. And so working together, not only with our own board, but with the upper and lower, there's checks and balances already in place in the 98 to 02 averages, where the Middle Republican uses 30% of the water. If we go less than that, it's going to force the upper and the lower to go less as well. And as we go forward in time, the numbers will balance out, and we use less water, it's going to force everyone to use less. And so I think using the water model that we all got introduced to a little more than 4 years ago, and using those numbers and reacting to them with the rolling allocation, with the retirement of acres, and all the little pieces to the puzzle, I think we can succeed at this issue, and I'm excited to be a part of it. Well, I'd just like to say that I am fully invested in the long-term success and viability of Southwest Nebraska and of the Middle Republican District. I have a 20-month-old daughter and now a 6-day-old son at home, and I fully intend for them to be part of my family operation if they so choose to be down the road. And water is an important resource to each and every one of us. But it's not a resource if we don't have fair access between us or long-term sustainability for all of us. So with that said, I'm Marty Schurr. I would like to earn your vote and represent you for the NRD. And if anybody has any questions at any time, I'd certainly entertain a phone call, and please do come to the meetings and find out what's really going on. Thank you.